From FanDuel, my name is Minty Bets, here to talk UFC 320, and I am joined by the UFC featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski. Alex, we've got two title bouts for UFC 320 taking place in my hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada. First one up is the light heavyweight title bout. Magomed Ankalaev was able to claim the light heavyweight belt at UFC 313 against Alex Pereira, where Pereira looked to be in control that first round, but as the fight progressed, Ankalaev seemed a bit more consistent. Now, Pereira has been making history with how quickly he's become that two-time division or two-division champion, but Ankalaev almost seemed like a puzzle he couldn't solve. So what adjustments does Pereira need to make this time around?
Yeah, obviously was a tricky one for him. I feel like I've noticed with the southpaws for Pereira, he just does his best work against orthodox fighters. Obviously, still great because he's such a high-level kickboxer. But sometimes if someone's giving him a problem, it's usually a southpaw. I've sort of noticed. But he's a very clever guy who's been striking his whole life. Even though he's got to go up against that southpaw again, but now he's probably knows the little tricks that Ankalaev are going to bring on the feet. But I do believe Ankalaev is probably going to push for the wrestling a little bit more. I think he knows that Pereira is good enough to make good adjustments. So he's probably going to have to be a little more well-rounded now. So this is definitely going to be a trickier one for both of them. I think they both need to change a bit of their strategy, and let's see who changes their strategy best. I think it's going to come down to that. I really do.
Okay, now who do you see winning this Ankalaev Pereira part 2, and how do you see it happening?
Yeah, all right. Tricky one. See, that's what I was like hoping. Could I dance around that? No, I won't. I will have to say, I just think, because Ankalaev is a safe fight. I felt like he took a few risks in that last fight, which surprised me, and he still come off with the win. I don't think he can do that again. If that same Ankalaev turns up, even though he looked great, I think the adjustments Pereira would make, he might be able to catch him. I feel like Ankalaev's going to play that little bit more safe and maybe get the win, maybe get the decision win. I'm just going to lean towards that. Obviously, he's coming off a win. He was able to give him problems, and now he's probably going to push for the wrestling a little bit more. I think I'm going to have to lean towards Ankalaev for that. But yeah, it's a one that I believe that it is very close, but just because of previous fights, not so much the last fight, previous fights, Ankalaev's strategy, game planning, and usually plays it safe. I think he's just going to play it safe this time and just do all the right things to make sure he stays ahead in this match.
All right, for the Bantamweight Championship, we've got the current champ, Merab Dvalishvili, coming in as a big favorite going up against Cory Sandhagen. Now, I really like this matchup because I've kind of been waiting to see Cory get his title shot. And we know Merab is a machine with his relentless pace and his wrestle-heavy style, and he's on a 13-fight tear. Now, do you think Cory Sandhagen can match Merab through 25 minutes, or is his best chance for victory a finish here?
Oh, I think his best bet for a finish is definitely a finish, but I don't think anyone can handle Merab for 25 minutes and expect them to be just as fit as him. I reckon he's probably the fittest in the UFC. But Sandhagen is definitely going to bring different problems. I've said this from a couple of fights ago, even before Merab was on a tear, and even though he was facing tough opponents, I thought that Sandhagen would be his toughest matchup. Sandhagen on the feet, he's very, very obviously good on his feet, but his fight IQ and his understanding of what he's doing, I feel like he's composed enough to, even though he's getting taken down, get back to his feet, not really panic, not really freeze on the feet because of the takedowns. I still think he's going to take the risks that he would, just take the opportunities in front of him, which is why he's going to be so much more dangerous than Merab's probably last opponents, where I feel like he could work on his gas tank, sort of start to freeze them, the takedown wear on them a little bit. I just feel like even though he will get takedowns on Sandhagen will probably get back to his feet and then still look for the finish and not really hesitate while doing so. I believe that's why he's going to be the toughest fight for Merab. But Merab is just so good, and he's been looking better and better. Even his striking's getting so much better. One thing that I am sort of, because I'm a big fan of both guys. One thing I may be a little nervous for with Merab, obviously he had a lot of success on the feet against Sean in the last fight. I thought he looked great on the feet. But again, I feel like he was able to freeze Sean and get him so worried about the takedown where he could let his hands go. I don't feel like the opportunities for Sandhagen are going to be there. So does he take confidence in his striking coming into this one? I think it's going to be a bad idea. So I would usually, it would be hard for me to bet against Merab if I know Merab's going to just do what he always does and just, sort of play it safe, get the takedowns and just have fun that way. Like, even though it's great to watch, will he want to be like, oh, I want to set a statement on the feet? Because if he does, I think there could be a big problem. And now you're going to ask me, who am I picking? Which, again, I wanted to sit on the fence and not have to pick. But I will get straight into it and say who I think I'm going to pick. I'm just going to have to go with Merab. I just think, from what he's done, I think he can play safe enough. Even if he does get hurt, I think he can get himself out of trouble by just sticking on. And then if he does get hurt early, does he be like, all right, ain't messing about no more. Let's do our thing, keep doing the takedowns. The thing about Merab, great takedowns. His control's still great, but he's okay with you getting back to your feet and just him shooting and taking you down again, which, again, a lot of people freeze. And then he can, and he can be very effective there. Letting Sandhagen back up, or not letting him back up, but being okay with him getting back up so I can shoot again. He's very good at timing his knees, very good at timing you coming in. He's got such a good eye for those things. You don't want to be going up and down, up and down, up and down. And yes, you will gas Sandhagen, because you'll gas anyone with that, with Merab style and his gas tank. But the opportunities are just going to be there so much more for Sandhagen every time he gets back to the defeat. And so that's why it's such a tricky one. But I will go with Merab just because he's on absolute tear at the moment. But this is by far his toughest challenge, I believe, so far.
Okay, I agree with you on Merab. I would like to see Cory give him, some issues. But now I have to ask, is there anyone currently that you can see dethrone Merab in this division?
Again,
I thought it would be Nurmagomedov. Then we got Peter Yan, Song Yadong. I mean, some good guys, but man, against Merab, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I think I've always thought that Peter Yan would be great for a style like that, but obviously they've already fought and Merab was very successful. Does that fight change the next time? I'm not sure. I just know that Peter Yan's takedown defense is good, is explosive, but he's going to have to be very fit. And yeah, again, it's already been done, so it's hard to say Peter Yan, but I do believe that he can definitely be a threat for Merab. But as you said, Nurmagomedov, incredible fighter, was sort of close, but I had Merab winning, and I picked him winning before that fight, just knowing that that gas tank. And even though he's used to grappling, I just knew that style or that Merab brings, he's just going to wear on that gas tank. And every time you put all your effort in that takedown defense, you're just going to gas. And so I knew that fight was going to be the way it does. I still think he would be another tough fight. But Sandhagen, I really do believe Sandhagen's his toughest match. I think if anyone's going to dethrone him, it would be Sandhagen. I think he's got the best chance on the feet. And you've seen in his last fight with I don't know if it was his last fight, but his fight with Magomed, he's still composed enough and crafty enough to not only survive on his feet, find himself back up to his feet, and then he can do his damage. And again, like I said, if he's going to be so worried about the takedown, then he's just going to fall into the same problem everyone else does in the division. But I just don't think Sandhagen's that guy. That's why I think he's going to be the biggest threat.
All righty. Now onto the light heavyweight matchup between Jiri Prochazka and Khalil Rountree Jr. Now I can't stop thinking about the Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree fight, because that was kind of the first time in a while we had seen Pereira in danger like that. Now Rountree has that raw power, while Jiri can be a bit wild, but he is all action. I actually think this fight could be closer than the odds suggest. But stylistically, who do you think has the edge here? Is it Jiri and his unpredictable approach, or would it be Khalil and his sharp striking?
Okay, so who's the underdog here? Sorry?
Khalil Roundtree is the
Khalil. Oh, so Khalil's around underdog. Okay, that's interesting. I thought it'd be the other way, but I mean, I understand that. Yuri, they're both great fighters. I'm very impressed with Roundtree. I feel like he's getting better and better. He's always been dangerous. Obviously, that fight with Pereira, giving him real problems. Then even in his last fight, just being able to, work strategy and just be great on the outside, do his thing the way he did. Very, very impressive. It's just Yuri just brings such an unorthodox style that, it'll be interesting to see how Roundtree, even though I know he's gotten so much better, how is he going to handle that, unpredictable style from Yuri, where Yuri's putting that pressure, forcing you to fight. And, is he going to take them chances and land them big bombs that he can with that Muay Thai style of a Roundtree? Or is he going to, find it that little bit hard? And it's such an unorthodox style that, your normal stance, your normal things that you're usually worried about, with most people striking, and the patterns you usually have that works for you, and you've got a lot of counters off. Is it going to feel the same? Is he going to be able to make them adjustments to a different style? I think he definitely can, but I can see why Yuri is still the favorite. I'm surprised. I thought maybe people would have seen Roundtree, and if I seen people say Roundtree was a favorite, I probably would have been okay with the Yuri bet. But now that I'm seeing Roundtree the underdog, now I'm like, ooh, where's the value here, right? Like, if you want to go right in, because I believe that they're both are great fighters. I believe Roundtree's looked probably more in form, compared to his career. I believe like he is at his peak. Yuri's always been good. So it's a tricky one. Man, these are all three of them be hard for me.
Yeah, so let's say Khalil isn't the underdog and this is a coin flip. Who do you think gets their hand raised then?
Okay, so if Khalil wasn't the underdog, I'd probably lean towards Yuri. But value here, look, there you go. So there's value, and I still think I might have. Look, so I'm a big fan of both guys. I'm just friendly with everyone. I hate having to pick, right? Because I get along with everyone. Volk just gets along with everyone. I've always got to pick, but that is what we need to do. I am gonna still go with Yuri. I think he's just unpredictable. He could definitely get caught. The only thing is, he takes a lot of risks. That's why he can be so effective. But early on, Roundtree's going to bomb him while he's doing that, I believe. So there'll be opportunities for him to catch him. So Roundtree could definitely catch him early, but I'm probably going to go with Yuri. Ooh, that's a tricky one. That was hard for me to pick that one.
I know. I saw you kind of stalling a little, but yeah, Yuri's the pick. Okay. Now, Alex, back in August, you tweeted, "See you in December, LERONE Murphy. Congrats." And although nothing is official yet, it could be a potential title fight between you and LERONE. Now, you've fought guys with very different strengths: Max's volume, Islam's size, Ilya's power. Where would LERONE Murphy's style fit in that spectrum if you shared the octagon with him?
All right, if I was to share the octagon with LERONE Murphy, I think he's just, well-rounded. I think he just got a good understanding of the game, strategy, knows what he's doing, like good fight IQ, experience. Them side of things is where his problems are going to be. He's not going to be the most explosive guy I've ever fought. He's not going to be the strongest guy I've ever fought. He won't be any of those things. If it comes to the grappling, he won't be the most effective grappler, but he's probably the most well-rounded and best put together with the best strategy behind it. Maybe a good team as well. Plus, he's a fight IQ, which I usually think I style up great against guys like that. I think their dangerous factor, how dangerous, explosive, and that's where my biggest threat would be. Someone to threaten me. Where if someone thinks they're going to out-strategize me, I think they're going to have, a tough night in the office. That's what I truly do believe. But I believe if I was to fight LERONE Murphy, I think he would understand that, or he would understand that early in the fight, and then decide, all right, I'm just going to do what everyone else tries to do and try and bomb him. And that's when because he's clever enough to maybe try and set some things up, like he did in that last one, setting that spin and elbow, incredible. But I'll be honest, I don't know who I'm fighting. Just yet. I can't say that it's definitely going to be LERONE Murphy. I thought it would be clear. Then I know the UFC was waiting for the Diego Lopez and Silva. So it's just, I don't know. For me, I'm an easy champ to understand, as I've always been. I'll fight anyone, anywhere. It does not matter. Whoever the UFC says, whoever everyone's screaming, all right, whatever. If it doesn't make sense, I'm going to be like, oh, man, that doesn't make sense. Oh, well, that's what they want. We'll do it. You know, it's just how I am. Who would I prefer? Who do I think is most deserving?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah, Lerone Murphy or Movzar, I think he is. But, he had the opportunity, and I think that's going to make things hard. Then Lerone Murphy. But, again, there's just you got guys like even Diego Lopez, a big win like he did. I know I just fought him, but I know the UFC like him. Is it something that they're going to push him? Is that what they're waiting for? Were they waiting just for Silva, or were they waiting for Diego? I'm not sure, but whoever it is, bring it on.
Okay, we like that. Now, other than like Lerone and Movsar, is there anyone in the division that you think would be just a fun fight for you and the fans? I mean, you've pretty much fought everyone at the top, but going down the list a little, we've got Josh Emmett, who's a power puncher, Youssef Zalal, who's up and coming, Gian Silva, like we just mentioned, Pitbull. Does anyone pique your interest just for a fun fight for fans?
Obviously, a big win from Silva would have been fun. I think everyone that would have been something that everyone would have wanted to see if he had a big win over a top guy like Diego Lopez. Just because there's a lot of hype around him. He likes to have fun. All the things that he's doing. I think that would have built a lot of hype, which is fun for me. It's even though it doesn't really matter the danger factor or whatever, but whatever everyone wants, the biggest fight and all that sort of stuff. That's all I really care about. I think I'm the best in the division, so it doesn't really matter who it is. Whoever the UFC want, who everyone wants, that excites me the most. So whatever does best for my legacy and all that, you know what I mean? That's sort of what excites me the most. Stylistically, I mean, I believe they're all fun fights. I really do. I think they're all fun fights because I'm going to bring the fight to whoever it is. Even with Lerone Murphy being someone that likes to be strategy, I'll bring the fight to him, and then it's just always going to be a fun fight. I believe I'm always in some exciting fun fights, and so it's all of the fights will be exciting. But who's the best? Who does everyone want to see? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Who do you want to see? Maybe I can push for whoever you say.
That's right, Alex. Well, that is a wrap for UFC 320 preview. Thank you so much, Alex, for letting us pick your brain on these upcoming fights.
No worries. Thank you.